in this meeting. Hi, Kara.
Hi.
Kelly Truchas, if she's there, Melissa Nadeau. Hi to all of you. I've not only had a working relationship with many people in the Danbury Public Schools, but I've also represented many of the professionals. And so in doing so, I send my thank yous to NEA Danbury, but to Danbury Public Schools, Rich Jalbert, Kevin Walston, Courtney Laborious, and Dr. Sal. Thank you so much, and best to you in your retirement. The last time that I was before board members in this type of situation, it was for 20 years of service, and I received this medallion. I hope that you still give them out, and I still have mine. And I never felt more valued than when I received that, and just gave me the motivation to continue. Kathy Molinaro. Kathy, I remember when you came as a board member, knew you before then, but came as a board member to my school just to introduce yourself and say hi to the teachers. You can't even imagine the feeling that you left with the teachers, knowing that you cared enough to come into their building. Madam Chair, Gladys Cooper, I've watched you from the time you were just attending Board of Ed meetings to your unwavering leadership now as the chair. Thank you, all board members, for the time that you have put in and for the days going forward that you begin to look at a superintendent for the Danbury Public School System. I just want to leave these with you. I have this hanging in my door for my students, the quote that says, "Everything that is popular is not right, and everything that is right is not popular." I leave that with you, and thank you all for being a part of my educational legacy.
I would like to say something. Hi, and congratulations to you, Dr. Sal, on your retirement as well. I have been teaching for 38 years. Over 29 of them have been in Danbury, and 23 of them have been in Danbury High School. This is very bittersweet. I hope I don't cry. And I am truly going to miss every single one of you. I'm going to miss my children. I'm going to miss the kids that I've been dealing with for so long and working with for so long. And when I started here, I actually started with Joan Hodge. She was my partner in crime when I first started in Danbury Public Schools, and she was a wonderful woman, and she will truly be missed. I'm not going to talk that long because I'm not a great public speaker, which is strange because I teach children every day. But again, this is bittersweet. I am going to miss every single moment of every single day. But it's a new chapter, and my husband and I are starting a whole new life. So again, thank you, everybody. Thank you to the board for all your support. Thank you, Kelly, if you're there. Thank you so much. And Kara, thank you as well. We have known each other quite some time. And everybody enjoy.
Good health. Yes. Anyone else? Oh, okay. Well, don't forget my offer. If you guys feel so bad, you know, you're welcome back. There's plenty of opportunities for you, and we'd love to have you. You've made the connections that are so important to us. Madam Chair, that ends this part of the program. Thank you.
Dr. Sal, since I'm Madam Chair, could we as board members unmute ourselves and just take a few minutes and stand up and give all our retirees a round of applause?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on down the agenda.
Yes. We can go to public participation. Oops. I think,
I think Gladys may have frozen.
yeah, I think,
So I'll move forward with the
okay,
public participation, Gladys.
I think it's
Yeah.
frozen.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay. The board welcomes public participation and asks that comments be limited to 3 minutes. The public may offer objective comments of school operations and programs that concern them. The board will not permit any expression of personal complaints or defamatory comments about Board of Education personnel and students, nor against any person connected with the Danbury Public School System. Due to the unique nature of the COVID-19 crisis and the limitations of technology, members of the public who are Danbury residents are invited to send brief comments and questions via email in advance to dps_public_BOE@danbury.k12.ct.us.
Thank you, Kate. Carol, you want to read the comment?
Yes. So we have one comment from Kathy Snow. Good evening. I submitted a comment at the May 26th Board of Ed meeting and I've not received any information or clarification. So I'm asking once again, can someone please let us know about the June 23rd Board of Education meeting? Is it going to be in person? Will the public be allowed to attend? Will the meeting be live streamed? If the public is allowed to attend, are public comments only allowed to be submitted in person, or will you still accept them via email? And on a related note, will emailed public comments continue to be read next year if a person cannot be at the meeting in person? Please let us know. Thank you, Kathy Snow. And that is it for public participation.
Thank you, Carol. Kate, could you do the consent calendar, please?
Certainly. I'll make a motion that the Board of Education approves the item on the consent calendar, Exhibit 21-87, as recommended.
Motion made by Kate.
Second. Second, Madam Chair.
Okay, I heard you, Joe. Are there any questions concerning the consent calendar? Seeing none?
Just one, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Is there an item on that consent calendar considering dollar amounts? Maybe should be explored a little further and brought others.
So you
public
asked
rather.
There needs to be a correction in a particular dollar amount on what particular page?
Oh, not a particular dollar amount. There's
Okay.
a schedule of budget numbers
Okay.
that maybe should be a motion rather than on a consent calendar discussed. Exhibit 2187.
Okay.
21.
Are there any other questions concerning the consent calendar? Seeing none, Kate, could you do the roll call, please?
Sure thing. Joe Britton,
Aye.
Rachel Shaleski,
Aye.
Kate Canetta, aye. Gladys Cooper,
Aye.
Joe De Silva,
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson,
Aye.
Rich Janelli,
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro,
Aye.
Al Russo,
Nay.
Amy Spallino.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion is so carried. Thank you all. We're going to move down to item number 7, our educational staff representative. Is the president of the NEA here, Dick Aaron?
Aaron? I don't think so. Carol.
Okay. Dr. Zali?
No, she is not here tonight.
Okay, so we move on down. Any of our students here, we know, and our student reps here from the high school or ACE?
Yeah, we're here from DHS.
Okay.
Okay. I believe Jake's here as well. So this is our last meeting. Jake and I guess we're retiring too. We're graduating. We just wanted to say our goodbyes, I guess, to everyone. We've been here for 2 years, so we just wanted to say how thankful we are for the Board of Ed and everything you've done for us. I believe Jake and I have gone through Danbury Public Schools our entire, from kindergarten to, I even did early childhood. So since I was 3 years old to senior in high school. So again, I just want to say thank you so much for everything. And we have the new Board of Governors here as well. We did an election and a couple of them are here. So in a couple of minutes, they're going to introduce themselves as well. I just want to say thank you to Ms. Calafiore. She's our advisor for the Board of Governors, and she's also retiring this year. And we just want to say how thankful we are for her and everything she's done for us. So does Jake want to take over, say something?
Do you want to introduce the new members now?
Yeah, if Jake doesn't have something to say,
Okay.
I don't know where he went. Jake?
Go ahead, Rebecca.
He was
Go ahead,
just,
Rebecca, and then we'll let Jake come back. If he wants.
yeah, he'll probably be back.
Okay.
Jake?
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yes, Jake.
Sorry, like what Becca was saying cut out, so if I say anything repetitive, like that's fine, but
He was just telling us how wonderful you are and how cooperative and everything. Don't you think?
yeah.
Like,
I've loved I guess these are like my final words. So working with Becca has been really great. Being a liaison and like voicing what's been going on at the school and like being that link for you guys has been an honor. I'm sad that me and Becca didn't get to put more stuff together for the school this year, but I love Becca so much. She has a place in my heart. And Miss Cal, you stayed on an extra year for us, I hope. We did adequate. I hope we did good. I loved being secretary, and I loved being vice president. And I'm thinking great things are going to be happening next year. This council has a lot of potential, so we leave it to them. And I also mentioned at the last meeting that I'll be going to University of Miami in Florida. So I'm super excited about that. And I think that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Jake. I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with you too, Jake. I don't know if you heard me before, but it's been a pleasure these past 2 years. Okay, so our new Board of Governor
It really has.
our new Board of Governor officers, I believe we have 3, 1 or 4, I'm not sure. One of them was driving the last time I was in contact. So I'm just gonna, so maybe just go in like descending order, just go from president to treasurer, and we'll see who's here. Just say your position, name, and then anything else you'd like to say.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gregory Parker, and I am the new Board of Governors president for next year. And I just want to say I'm really excited for next year.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Tina Nago, and I'm a junior this year. And I'm vice president, and I'm really excited to work with the Board of Ed and Greg and Scott and Jay and everybody.
Hello, I'm Dre. I'm going to be the new BOG secretary. You know, I'm very honored to, be a part of this culture and this position, and given this position. I can't wait to work with all of you.
And I'm Scott. I'm the new treasurer, and it's just a great opportunity to have this position and just be able to have my input with all of you guys. So, looking forward to it.
Well, welcome, everybody.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you come September. Do we have anyone from ACE? No? Okay. Action item A, Kate?
Students, if you'd like to leave, this is a good time for you.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Sam.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Thank
Rebecca.
you.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Graduation.
Yep.
What time do you graduate?
Jake and I are both at 2.
You
So-
voted too, okay.
We'll get a picture, Dr. Sal, don't worry.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. Whoops.
All right, I'll make a motion that the Board of Education approve the authorization of signature change form for the ED 099 agreement for child nutrition program in accordance with Exhibit 21-88.
I second that.
Motion made by Kate, seconded by Al. Are any of the questions or discussion concerning action item A? Seeing none. Kate, could you do the roll call, please?
Sure. Joe Britton,
Aye.
Rachel Chalesky,
Aye.
Kate Canetta, aye. Gladys Cooper,
Aye.
Joe De Silva,
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson,
Aye.
Rich Janelli,
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro,
Aye.
Al Russo,
Aye.
Amy Spallina.
Aye.
Motion so carried. Kathy Molinaro, could you do action item B?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that the Board of Education approve and authorize a change to the signatory representatives for Danbury Public Schools on an interim basis to be Kevin Walston, Assistant Superintendent, and Donna Coonan, Assistant Finance Director.
Second.
Second.
Motion made by Kathy, seconded by
Everybody.
I got that one.
Everybody.
Okay, Kate.
Thank you.
Kate, roll call.
Sure. Joe Britton,
Aye.
Rachel Chalesky,
Aye.
Kate Canetta, aye. Gladys Cooper,
Aye.
Joe De Silva,
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson,
Aye.
Rich Janelli,
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro,
Aye.
Al Russo,
Aye.
Amy Spallina.
Aye.
Motion so carried. Thank you. Mrs. Janelli, would you do action item C?
Madam Chair.
That the Board of Education approve and set the budget for 2021-22 in the amount of $137,150,000, a 1.08% increase. The Board of Education is also proposing to utilize an estimated $2,437,157 in non-lapsing funds, $17,350,037 of ECS Alliance funding, $795,000 in CARES/ESSER 1 funding, $6,089,887 in ESSER 2, and $8,027,464 in ESSER 3 / the American Recovery Plan, ARP funds, as well as ongoing general grant funds totaling an additional estimated $24 million in various other grants that support district activities. And this would be Exhibit 21-89.
Motion made by Mr. Janelli. Could I hear a second?
Second, Madam Chair.
Seconded by Mr. De
Discussion?
Silva. Any
Discussion?
questions or discussion concerning the motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just one question. Do we have to clear action items D and E before we can clear action item C?
Go ahead, Courtney.
Okay, so it's I'm just looking up the next action items, Al, I apologize. Are those the exempt salaries? D and E?
Yes, the exempt salaries and the cabinet.
I think the contracts are irrespective. The exempt salaries were not fully contemplated in the budget, so maybe there'll be a discussion on that, about how that will be included in the budget. But the is not a budget item necessarily per se.
Okay.
Did that answer your question? Because we have action item C, and then which is action item D is going to follow action item C. Does that answer your question?
It does, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Russo. Okay. Any other discussion on action item C?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would just like to say that I'm certainly going to vote in favor of this budget, but and I understand that these numbers might look large to folks who are listening at home or listening on this call, but I continue to be concerned about the amount that we're investing in our school system here in Danbury. I think that that's been a topic of conversation around our table for years now, certainly since before I was here. And I think that, we just need to keep that in mind as we move forward, that, we really need to invest properly in the education for our children. And that means using community resources, and that's our tax dollars. So I certainly will support this budget, but I just want to make it known that I do believe that our students, our teachers, and our staff members deserve more than what they're getting. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Well, please, let's not forget that the state has underfunded us millions for years, and that the governor proposed a freeze in the ECS, whether that was a bargaining chip or whatever. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case this year. I mean, we're getting our $2.5 million increase, but really we're not getting our full funding from the state until 2028 still. Most of our kids will have graduated by then. So I just, if you want to talk about funding, let's talk about all the streams.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, Mr. De Silva.
I'll concur with Kate and Rachel in the sense that I think it is important to talk about all the streams. I didn't agree with the governor's proposed budget. I didn't agree with the proposal to freeze the ECS increase that was guaranteed back in 2017 with then Governor Malloy's plan. I am encouraged by the fact that our legislative delegation was able to fight to get that included back in the budget. So we are getting that funding. To be clear, we need more state funding, but to be clear, the ball's being dropped at City Hall, not at the state. It is the city of Danbury that has underfunded our schools for the better part of the last decade. For whatever reasons, some good, some ill, none of them ill, none of them for malice, for a variety of reasons. But the problem is the chickens are coming home to roost. As we saw last evening in the presentation from Courtney, the risks in the out years from this budget when the ESSER funds dry up are pretty significant. And I hope very much that the city of Danbury recommits to our students in the way they had committed to our students before, let's say, 2009, 2010. That said, obviously, I'm supporting this budget. And lastly, very quickly, a big thank you to Courtney for putting this together. This is, once again, this budget is a very difficult document to draft. It is a very difficult document to put together. It is very hard to figure out how many angels to dance on the head of this pin with so few resources, and we have to stretch it to make it work. And she's crafted a strong budget, a budget that we can go forward with and do as best we can with what we have to work with. And thank you very much, Courtney. That's it, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Any
Joe.
other comments?
I just want to say thank you, Joe, for
concerning action item C?
Oh, just wanted to say thank you to Joe for saying that, and I also just wanted to thank Cabinet for sticking through to put together the plan, because it took a lot of time to look through all the different funding sources. I was really inspired by Kara and Kelly's commitment to thinking about it strategically, and Kevin and Dr. Sal. I just want to thank everybody, and thank you, board, also.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
I
Kate.
also have to mention, sorry, Gladys.
Okay.
As far as our legislators go, I certainly thank them for, pushing, to continue on the increase with the new ECS formula. But we had a very strong bill that many of us on this board and administration supported and advocated for, that would have fully funded us today, now. We need our state funds now, not 2028. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Kate, if there's no other discussion, I'll move on to roll call, please.
Okay.
For
Joe,
action item C.
Joe Britton,
Aye.
Rachel Gillespie,
Aye.
Kate Canetta, aye. Gladys Cooper,
Aye.
Joe De Silva,
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson,
Aye.
Rich Janelli,
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro,
Aye.
Al Russo,
Aye.
Amy Spallina.
Aye.
Motion so carried. Joe Britton, would you do action item D, please?
I sure can. I move that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to implement contracts for cabinet members as proposed.
I'll second.
Motion moved by Joe, seconded by Kate. Any discussion on action item D? We had a full discussion last night.
Oh,
Was there
I
any
have
other-
another discussion, another point.
Yes, yes, Mr. Russo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, contract raises. We are going through a COVID pandemic, and again, our citizens' ability to pay. Notwithstanding that no other union in the city of Danbury is taking a raise above 0% July 1. And yes, that includes, but not limited to, public safety, police, fire, public works, city hall, park and rec. So that part of it doesn't seem fair. Now, action item, the two action items for the cabinet and non-exempt, it's been noted that the cabinet's only about 80,000. But you put that with the other action item with non-exempt employees, now we're over 200,000. Now, the comment has been made that 200,000 in a $150 million budget is insignificant. But in tonight's agenda, 24 million of that is what we call cliff funds, expiring funds. So all we're doing is raising the cliff for people that can't afford to pay it. And if we have the money in our budget, that extra 200K in our budget already, let's put it back to the students and consider the needs of the many, the students, over the wants of the few. I do not dispute that all of our employees deserve a raise, and they have worked very, very hard. But not only the school folks, public safety, city hall, public works, and they're taking the zero because the city can't afford the our revenues are down, and I would like to defer any raise until at least January 1, 2022. Thank you.
Isn't this motion just for the contracts?
Well,
It's
it's for the cabinet
It's
contract.
not for the salaries, it's just in extending their contract. This
No, it's a 3% raise.
That's E.
3.1.
This
That's
is
E.
D.
E.
Action item D.
Yes, the cabinet members' contracts. Wasn't that a 3%, 3.1% raise?
Well,
No. It's the length of-
Hyper-technically, I believe that's part of the schedule that's E. D is just whether we extend the third year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then the point is still.
Yeah.
The point is still, I believe, valid.
The point would be valid for the next item. The question is, do you have any objection to adding the third year?
At a 3.1% raise?
no.
No, that's a different motion.
Okay. Then no, I have no problem extending the motion item D. And my comments, if you'd like me to reiterate them again, I'd be happy. If not, I'll only say.
Play it back.
I know it's hot outside, you know.
We're in air conditioning.
Any other discussion concerning D? No. Move on. Kate, do the roll call.
Joe Britton,
Aye.
Rachel Gillespie,
Aye.
Kate Canetta, aye. Gladys Cooper,
Aye.
Joe De Silva,
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson,
Aye.
Rich Janelli,
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro,
Aye.
Al Russo,
Aye.
Amy Spallina.
Aye.
That's funny, Joe.
Motion so carried. Joe De Silva, would you do action item E?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Here I go again.
Item E, Motion that the Board of Education accept the exempt employee salaries, including cabinet, for 2021-22 as recommended.
Now, Al, now.
Oh,
Somebody has to second it.
Somebody has to second
I
it.
need that motion.
I'll second it. It's the other Joe.
Thank you.
Lots of seconds.
Well, here I go again.
What you said before.
Yes, the citizens' ability to pay in the city of Danbury. Tax revenues are down. People on my head of the hill are struggling. All right, and then no other unit, bargaining unit that has a contract expiring June 30th is taking a raise July 1 of 2021. And so that hardly seems fair. They all deserve a raise. You all deserve a raise. Police, fire, school personnel, staff, cabinet. You all have my admiration. But take the 200,000, 2+, put it back into the kids and defer a raise until 2022. All right? You know, and again, I've been told, oh, the 60,000 or the 200,000 is significant with $151 million budget. But 24 million of that is going away. So all we're doing is creating a bigger cliff. So it's not only fair, I say defer. It's not that I value you any less. I admire you all. I also don't think that 2.5%, 3%, well, in corporate, they're lucky to get that. But people aren't getting raises. So I asked you as a board to reconsider making this an automatic deal and deferring the raise to 2022. Thank you.
Any other discussion concern? Thank you, Mr. Russo, for your comments. Any other discussion about action item E?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. De Silva.
Briefly, I'm not personally aware of the machinations of other city bargaining unit contracts. I don't know exactly which contracts might be ending June 30 as opposed to contracts that may extend beyond. More importantly, I don't care about the city of Danbury contracts. I do care because the city of Danbury workers, as Al just said, are entitled to a raise, and they probably are working very hard with very little. Because if we are bare to the bone on the board side in terms of employees, both in schools and at Beaverbrook, the city of Danbury is just as short. They've been left just as short by the penurious budgets over the last decade. That said, we can't control, and I can't vote on city of Danbury raises or raises for anybody else in the city of Danbury. What we do have in front of us and what I'm voting on and supporting are the issues that are before us that we control and the employees that we hire. Now, I agree with Al generally. I do believe that we should be putting things into kids and funds into kids, and I believe this budget does as well as we can with that. I also believe that the administration that we have and the cabinet that we have, which, by the way, as we discussed last evening, is smaller than many of the cabinets and many of the leadership roles in jobs and positions that other districts have. Meaning our leaders, our cabinet, our administrators, our exempt employees at Beaverbrook are doing more jobs than they would be in comparable positions in other towns. And by the way, are making less money than comparable positions in other towns as well. So while I do agree, it is important to invest in kids. I believe this is an investment in kids. What we invest in our curricula director or in our special ed director is an investment in kids. It's an investment in leadership. It's an investment in making sure we're doing a good job and serving all of our kids. So I think this is an investment in kids. Maybe it's not a direct investment. It's not something that's going to be yielded right in front of a blackboard, showing my age, blackboard, in front of a whiteboard. But as a practical matter, I do think this does invest in kids and invest in the leadership of our school. I think they are earned. I think they are within a reasonable range. And in terms of the cabinet alone, it's $60,000. That's less than half of 1% of this budget. So in that regard, I'm supportive of it. I respect exactly what Al's saying, and I'm not suggesting that he's wrong at all. I'm suggesting I think this is investing in kids. These are warranted. And if the city of Danbury is falling down for its employees, then shame on the city of Danbury. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other comments?
Yes, I would like to say something.
Yes, Rachel.
You know, my initial feeling was to absolutely support this, and you know, I'm voting with my initial feeling. I was you know, frustrated with technology last night in our discussion, so would have liked some more discussion among the board members. I think 3% is a little high, but it is very deserved. They wear many hats. You know, we all do. We all wear many hats, and they work so hard. They work around the clock, and especially this year, they've built something from nothing, essentially, so that our kids could keep learning all year long. You know, back in March, my kids were still doing work those first few weeks when we didn't have distance learning yet, but there was something for them to do. And many districts did not have that. And then, you know, to put together, you know, several learning models. And I don't know if anyone's taken vacation. You know, I don't know how you could have. So I can't say enough that I support this, and I'm sorry, Al. I know how you feel, and we've discussed it at length. And it's very difficult in a pandemic year, you know. But I'm supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Any other comments? Seeing none. Kate, could you do the roll call?
Certainly. Joe Britton?
Aye.
Rachel Chalesky?
Aye.
Kate Canetta? Aye. Gladys Cooper?
Aye.
Joe De Silva?
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson?
Nay.
Rich Gianelli?
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro?
Aye.
Al Russo? Sorry, Al, you were muted. I just want to make sure you're on record.
Nay.
Thank you. Amy Spallino?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion so carried. Thank you. Rachel, could you do action item F, please?
Action item F. I move that the Board of Education suspend the purchasing policy 3501, and its implementing regulations temporarily in order to waive the bidding requirements for the Student Transportation Association contract. This will enable the Board of Education to extend the contract by 4 years under negotiated terms to include a suspension of contract increases and the purchase of 10 additional buses. This motion is allowable under Board Bylaw 3.5, permitting the suspension of the policy provided that 2/3 of the board members in attendance vote in support, and prior notification of such proposed suspension had been described in writing.
Motion made by Rachel,
I'll second that.
seconded by Kate. Any discussion? Seeing none. Kate, could you do the roll call?
Certainly. Joe Britton?
Aye.
Rachel Chalesky?
Aye.
Kate Canetta? Aye. Gladys Cooper?
Aye.
Joe De Silva?
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson?
Aye.
Rich Gianelli?
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro?
Aye.
Al Russo?
Aye.
Amy Spallino?
Aye.
Thank you all. Motion so carried. Next is the presentation. Dr. Sam?
Yes, thank you all. Thank you for the budget. Thank you for your comments. As I leave the end of the month, I thought last night the conversation of joining some kind of a joint meeting with the city to look at us strategically in a collaborative way, to get to some Al point and everybody else's, to really lay out there the issues, and maybe that will be something that will be helpful. So with that, I'd like to have Jeff Zippler report pilot transition. You all know what we've been coming through. Guys, I'm sorry. no one home, and I'm the only one that had to rush home. But I would like Jeff to present tonight. He sent you a brief outline. Courtney and her team and Kim and her team have been like, you said it all, 24/7 on this. So, and they've been guiding and helping and, moving us through. But tonight he has an update for you. So Jeff, can you please take it from here?
Sure. Do I need to share my screen, or does everyone have that in the document in front of
Madam
them?
Chair, would you like him to share the screen? How would you like to do that?
Yes, let him go ahead and share the screen, Dr. Sankey.
Okay, then you do it. Go ahead. Kara, can we do that, please?
Or do you want me to share my screen?
No,
I have it open.
Yeah, it's better for him to share his own screen.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay.
And let me know, let me know when you can see it.
It's
Hopefully you
there.
can.
Thank you.
Good. So, Madam Chair and the rest of board members, thank you very much. I promise you, I will not be too long, but I did want to give you an update on the Infinite Vision, and you're going to hear me say Infinite Vision, or IV for short. As you're aware, there's a IV is being, which is a financial management software system, is being implemented as we speak. From a background and history perspective, Danbury School District originally had the Phoenix financial management system. They had it for a number of years. And the short of it is the Phoenix system was actually purchased by SunGard, which was then purchased by Power School. And then Power School made a decision to no longer support the application. And so as a result of that, Danbury and many other communities within Connecticut decided to change their financial management system. Some of them did move to Infinite Vision as well. So Infinite Vision is a software product by Tyler Technologies, and it was deemed an appropriate solution or replacement solution for the original Phoenix financial management system. So essentially, just because of the timing of everything, Danbury created a two-phase approach. Phase one, which actually kicked off certainly before January 1st of 2021, but essentially it was to implement basic COA, stands for chart of account. So that's your general ledger, as well as payroll and human resource operations. And so essentially Danbury was forced and had to expedite the payroll implementation process, going from Phoenix to Ivy. And then phase two, which will be rolling out in July, so just a few weeks away, is to implement the rest of the general ledger and put in place purchase order, purchase requisitions, and accounts payable modules. And the goal is to be going live with that July 1st. So so that's a bit of a background. I wanted to share with you a couple things. So item B on the list is payroll and human resources. Phase one, as I mentioned earlier, was implemented as of, and payroll was implemented as of January 1st. There were a couple of payroll payment issues. They were identified. We all believe that at this point, we've identified any issues, and the resolutions to those problems are being taken care of right now. There has been a more or a detailed payroll reconciliation, and it seems like we've identified I'll call it the snafus that we had in the beginning of the year. We are in the process right now of setting up fiscal year 22. We've got folks within Courtney's team and within Kim's team who are working together to set up the salary schedules, something called the calendars, and as well as the rest of the tables, including deduction tables. So we're still, or the team is still working out the kinks. We're getting any information set up for that. As you can imagine, the district has a number of unique contract agreements that need to be put in place into those into the payroll and HR modules in order to pay people correctly. But it is a work in process. I can tell you that Monday and Tuesday of this week, members of Kim's team, and I think of Courtney's team, but it's certainly of Kim's team, we're working with the Tyler rep to get things in place. And again, it's a work in process. They're still working on it. It does need to be tested, and we're going to go through, and I know Courtney and I have had some conversations about testing the payroll and making sure that we're in good shape. And so we're moving to that. We're moving to that goal in the next couple of weeks. From a purchasing and accounts payable perspective, the workflows have been set up and it's been completed. All the vendors have been set up and tested. Check printing is in good shape. The purchase order and purchase requisition training process is underway. So I think we're pretty good there. Item D, which is the general ledger and financial reconciliation. So the GL accounts are all in place, assets, liabilities, revenues, and expenses. Where we're still working on are the monthly reconciliations. And one of the things you have to imagine is that we're really working off of two systems right now. We have the Phoenix system, which ultimately is going to be the system of record for fiscal year 21. It will not be, and we'll be using Ivy for fiscal year 22, but we're running our operations in two systems right now. And so one of the things that is being worked on is to perform monthly reconciliations between the Phoenix system, between Ivy, and then right now Courtney is putting together financial statements in Excel, and we're trying to reconcile all of that and put that in place. The last time I spoke with Courtney and her team is that they've reconciled through February of this year, and they've completed the bank reconciliations through February again of this year. But that is an ongoing process. I believe within the next week, no more than 2, the rest of the months of the year will be reconciled, and we should be in relatively good shape. The one thing that I think we do need to be aware of is that the financial statements, we just need to be mindful of the fact that because we're working out of multiple systems right now and the reconciliations have not been completely finished, our financial position may look a little bit different from where we are right now, from where we will be in the next couple of weeks, just because of the reconciliations. But I think we'll be in pretty good shape. I'm going to stop there because Courtney, I see you nodding your head. I don't want to put any undue pressure on you, but did you want to make a comment on this, where I am right now?
Yeah, no, thank you, Jeff. Yeah, it's been really helpful to have your feedback and the help of Lindsay as well, and Lynn Boyce Fair. We're up to, I think, April as of now for reconciling.
Okay.
So essentially, board, what we're doing is we were marrying the two systems because we've got a new chart of accounts together by like a lookup on an Excel sheet, and then putting them together so you could see what the year-to-date expenditures were for the non-personnel, non-salaried accounts, the salaried accounts, as well as the encumbrances for the grants and for the general fund. We've now input all of the information, which includes the opening trial balance from an accounting term, and then all the detailed reports for each of the months for both of the sides of the cost of the accounts through, I believe, April. And we should be able to run a clean general ledger from Tyler, which will be our system of record for this year, and within the next week or so. And as Jeff said, so we're feeling good about that. And as Jeff mentioned, on the accounts payable side, we did a training with the secretaries today. We have another training tomorrow, and we're going to be holding a session in person for secretaries to come in, make appointments with us if they have any extra help that they need next week or after school ends, the 2 days after school ends, because the secretaries are still here in order to get all their requisitions into the system for the upcoming fiscal year. We're getting ready to do our last payroll of the year all of our accruals have been set up appropriately in the system. And then Kim's group is setting up which we did earlier, but now HR function is doing it because it's really an HR function. So they're learning to do it, to set up the calendars, the salary schedules, and the deductions, which get married together. So I'll be doing the testing on that. Their deadline for completing that was this Friday. And so I'll be able to do some testing on making sure that our first payroll will be a successful one on July 2nd. And thank you.
So thank you very much, Courtney. So we're still moving forward from a systems configuration perspective. We have all the administrative security access rights in place, confirmed roles, the security for roles and responsibilities, and Gina, the IT director, has taken over the administrative management of the system. And so that will allow us to ensure that people get appropriate security rights, and there will be good segregation of duties and responsibilities as well. The last item here is staffing. Moving forward with the new system. So Phoenix is an older system. It was configured in a particular way, and now we're moving to and upgrading to a brand new system. So there has been some uncertainty as to the roles and responsibilities of payroll and HR, and it has changed over the past few weeks in how we're configuring and who's responsible for what. Again, that's a bit of a work in process, but we're working things out and identifying who's going to be responsible for what aspects of both payroll and certainly the HR function. I neglected to mention, and I really didn't give anyone any background about myself, but back in the beginning of May, Dr. Sal and I think even Courtney asked for some help and support in overseeing the project. And so they reached out to myself. I'm at Clifton Larson Allen, formerly Bloom Shapiro. And so we've been involved in a lot of implementations over the years. And so both myself and my colleague, Lindsay and Trary, were asked to participate and work with Danbury to just be an independent observer and try to bring some good project management skill sets to the project. We were also able to get a person who is actively using Ivy down in, East Branford, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Lynn.
East Haven.
East Haven, I'm sorry. Lynn Bover, I believe. And Lynn has been a finance person down there, and they recently implemented Ivy. And they actually went from Phoenix to Ivy. And so she's got some really good experience, and she's been helping out as well, I believe, and hopefully she'll be coming in on Friday to, again, provide some support. So we are moving forward. Things are still a work in process, but we're getting closer to that completion date of July 1st. And we will be having weekly meetings with the Tyler representative just to confirm open items that need to be completed in order to meet our go live production date of July 1st. So with that, I know I was a bit long-winded. I apologize. I didn't know if anyone had any questions that you'd like me to answer.
I do.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Okay, go ahead. So you said something about quirks in item A in background. Can you give an example of what are you talking about, the quirks? And the other question I have is, you alluded to there will be some changes in how we see our balance sheet at July, well, actually June 30th. There'll be some big differences. At least that's what I'm surmising from your comments.
Well, as you can imagine, the Phoenix system was configured and set up with one chart of account. Ivy has and is being configured with a different chart of account. Will it still have balance sheet items and the like? Yes, but the account structure has changed. And I don't know, Courtney, if you want to go into any more detail of that, but that certainly is I would say a significant change of where you were on the Phoenix system as to where you will be in Ivy.
Yeah, that's what's concerning me. Yes.
Sure, yeah. Just briefly, so right now, the way that the structure is set up in Phoenix and the way our chart of accounts worked was we had, it was very odd. We had a ledger and assets, revenues split out separately, and we were doing, instead of doing do froms, we were counting it all like we would do a check or like a purchase order if we were doing a payment to the grants and a payment back to the general fund. We changed that to align with the proper accounting structure. It's called the Strawman structure. So all the object codes conform with the state and now the city. The city adopted this structure along with us, standards. So essentially all of our general expense category codes are of a 5,000 series where they didn't align like that in the past. Number one, the dollars, and number two, a big change was also in the past, all of our grants were showing a location code of 80, which meant that any assumptions that we had about the grant spending would have to be a prorated or allocated share when we were looking at finding where the spending was occurring. We pulled that apart and now we aligned it directly with the actual location, and there's a grant code that follows at the end. So there's two different fund codes, 2099 and 1002 now, general fund and then grants fund. And then at the end, it's showing, like, for example, 014 is Alliance, 080 is CARES funding. So we will be able to drill down on a more granular level on the spending. But the crosswalk will remain the same. You'll see it in the old reporting way as well as the new reporting way so that you can see the total dollars and you can see how it spreads out. The other little difference, Kathy, is also at the end of any fiscal year, there's a bit of shift that happens on our grants funding because we want to spend down all the grants appropriately. And because this year was a unique year in that we had Alliance carryover, we had title carryover, we had coronavirus relief funds that weren't awarded to us until later into the fiscal year. We had CARES 1 and CARES 2 funds that were awarded to us a little bit later in the year. As we right size all those grants and make sure that we're maximizing the spending, there is a possibility that it could leave us with a little bit of city surplus that we weren't anticipating, that we have agreement from the city that we could put into reserve if the board should vote on that. So when I spoke to Rachel at the last meeting saying that what I'm showing you is the real grants budget right now, because it looked like a few of them were expending at 114%, for example, we're shifting all the expenditures to the correct category codes so that we're, again, maximizing the grant funding, which could result in two things happening. And we'll know more in about a week or two once we get every expense line.
What are those two things that will be happening? I mean, other than that you're putting them into the right places, they should still balance out. I mean, if you're taking $100 from this account and putting it into this other account and whatever, it doesn't matter to me. But what I want you to assure us is that we're not going to have a deficit that we are not aware of.
1,000% assure you that you won't have a deficit, but you might have a little bit additional funds this year that we didn't anticipate.
That would be a nice surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll know that before the next board meeting, and even before that, I'll be able to send out that budget report. So yeah, but there might be a little bit of a city surplus, and there might be a little bit more than what I reported on the CARES 1 amount tail that's available for next year's spending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I would share with you that this is a high priority. And since we got involved, we want to make sure the board has the most accurate financial statements, and we don't want any, I call them surprises, right? And by the way, surprises in deficit or surprises
or vice versa. Yes.
Exactly. And so we've been having conversations with Courtney, and I know her and her team have been actively working on it. And as she mentioned, they're up to April right now. So we should be hearing, more complete results within the next week, I would imagine.
Well, thank you for your help.
My pleasure.
Are there any other questions for board members?
Had a question, please.
Yes.
I just want to go back because I'm seeing under B2, there's this concern about some contract agreements and how that's been input in the system and that needs to be addressed or worked around in the system. So I'm just I guess I'm a little surprised because if those things need to be worked out for 2022, how are things operating with the current payroll system, given that that's still being adjusted?
Well, we want to make sure that everything, all the contract agreements, and it's really coming down to the payroll configurations using the contract agreements as the baseline, if you will, are in good shape. It's not just there's tweaking that needs to occur in order to make sure that the payroll matches up the way it needs to. And so it's just a matter of running some sample payrolls and making sure that the agreements, the way they're configured in the system, are matching up appropriately. Did that make any sense?
It makes sense. I guess I'm just concerned because we're obviously running payroll on the new system.
Yep.
So I'm just concerned that it's going to be hard for us to ensure the accuracy there if this piece is still being reconciled.
Well, that's why this is, to be quite honest, this is a hot topic right now and needs to be completed in a week so that we can go through a very thorough testing of payroll, and not just one or two people, but this has to be a much broader sample of payroll to make sure that it's in place and it's
hitting all of the
successful.
marks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so,
sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
One of the reasons that we're hoping to get Lynn out here on Friday is to do and take advantage of her skill set from East Haven and make sure that we have things configured appropriately so that we can, testing should be easier, if you will.
Okay, and that's what I was going to follow up is just to make sure you're confident that the system is adaptable enough to address this issue.
Oh, it's very adaptable, and there's some tricks that we're going to learn from Lynn that will allow us to do this in, I think, a bit of an easier way. And she's dealt with Connecticut school districts and various union contracts, and so I'm very comfortable that she'll be able to provide some of those tricks in how to work with the system in a more efficient way. We also want to make sure that we're taking advantage of all the capabilities of the system. Phoenix, again, it was around for 25 plus years. It really lived a very useful life, but it was old and it didn't have a lot of the configuration capabilities that these new systems have. And we just don't want to just take what we had in one system and just throw it over in the new system. We want to be able to take advantage of the new system and all the features and capabilities so that when we roll over for the 2023 school year, it'll be much easier. We'll be in a much better position. We'll be able to do so in a much better and easier and more. It will have the integrity there as well. So.
If I might just add so it is a very great system and it forces you to do things correctly. And so if you're incorrect in the way that you present the salary schedule and the contract and the hours and the rates and the contract, the system is going to tell you that. So that's one of the challenges that we just needed to work through because there was an inconsistency that didn't bear out when you put it into a system that forces the rules. So Kim's team is looking at that to make that correction and make that adjustment.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions from board members?
I have a question, Gladys.
Yes.
So, two questions. First is to Kim and then to Jeff. Kim, is there a way that an item in classification B, item 2A, where the subheading indicates that we have some unique contract agreements. Is there something in the future that we could do to clean this up, and going forward is to maybe not be so creative that we have to, go around the corner to calculate something, and it becomes more standardized. I know things currently over the past number of years, are done and changed to accommodate things on the fly. But is there any way to bring things more in line and be consistent with other contracts?
Yeah. So there really aren't any twists and turns to any of our collective bargaining agreements that create problems with getting it entered into Tyler. There just aren't any. The only thing that we have sometimes, and we only really see it in the teacher's contract, is that mid-year step, so you advance a step in January, but again, very simple and easy to set up in Tyler. I think what this is referring to is they need to look different for July 1 because the way that they were in before that we were trying to match up the salary amounts to make sure that they were the same. So that's what I think we're talking about, making tweaks. But the contracts are all, there are, I believe, 8 of them. They're pretty straightforward. So I'm pretty comfortable. My team has been going in to do the salary schedules and to make sure the calendars are correct for next year. So I'm really not too worried about anything unusual. The only piece that has been odd, and it's been odd for 100 years longer than before any of us got here, I think, is that we do annualize some hourly folks, and that's really predominantly the paras. And we're looking at how to get that fixed. But I think it's
Right.
we decided as a team that was too big of a project to take on for right now. We'll look at that for next year.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And to you,
that's-
Jeff.
sorry.
Yep, I'm sorry.
No, that's what Kim hit it on the head. That's what I was kind of referring to in this paragraph here. So
One thing I would just suggest, since I'm leaving, but you might want to look at some other districts because they do have much more streamlined contracts than we do. The volume of calendars and salary schedules that we have, and the workarounds that we have to make because of that, I think could be improved, in my opinion.
Okay, and Jeff, my question to you is, July 1 is around the corner, and yet a lot of work has to be done. I'm sure there's more training, and you've got reconciliations that have to be done. So are you comfortable that effective July 1, you could actually make this conversion and transfer to the new system? And then secondly, are the staff that's remaining there, are they comfortable as of this point to continue? I'm a little bit concerned in the absence of not having a finance director, but we'll deal with that on an ongoing basis. And I think having yourself and Lynn overseeing this adds a lot more comfort level to us. But are you comfortable that July 1 is a realistic date for us to go live with the complete system?
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
I'm one that will pull the panic button if I believe we need to. So I want to be very clear about this. I think we've made some great progress over the past 3-4 weeks. We've made some really good progress. Kim and her team have done an awesome job this week of really pulling together, and everyone is starting to pull together as a team, and I think we have not only an opportunity, but we have a good game plan to make sure that we're in place by July 1st. I'm going to be very honest about one thing. We are not going to force fit it. So if we come down to the last week in June and we don't have green lights from everyone, we are not, or I will make a very strong recommendation that we do not move forward and we continue on Phoenix for another month or two, whatever it is. But this is not something we can force fit, and we need to make sure that we have it in place. It might not be picture perfect, but it's going to be damn close.
It'll be perfect. We can't run payroll on Phoenix
I didn't mean
any longer
payroll,
than-
but yes, right.
AP, yeah, APs, yes, we'll be fine. But
I'm actually very comfortable, to be honest with you, about AP and purchasing. Will there need to be some ongoing training? Yeah, I think so, because let's not forget, the school year ends, there's a bit of a hiatus, and then people come back and they're going to need some additional training, right? But
Sure.
we're going to be planning for that.
Yeah, I agree. That goes without saying. And the unresolved issues in terms of responsibilities, I would hope that would be resolved prior to.
Most of them are resolved now.
Okay, terrific. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I think we're done with our sector, right? And we'll obviously keep the board updated.
Yep.
Jeff, thank you, and
thank you all very much.
Thanks, Kim.
Okay, thank you, Jeff, so very much.
Have a great day, everyone, and evening.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Superintendent's report, is that where we're at?
Superintendent's report.
Yes, mine is brief. Let me just get right here. Just to let you know, we had 3 openings, well, 2, but one we're doing interim for principalship. Let me get to my, gosh darn it. Michelle Tarsi, who was at Mill Ridge as an interim, she's just done a wonderful, wonderful job as a leader of that district through these difficult times. She's a jewel, and so she will continue as principal there. We're very fortunate. In addition, we have the Brookfield Center. We were putting in an interim. Mrs. Janet Say, she's been working with the district at various levels, so she will assume that position. She'll be working with transition with the kindergarten. So we have one more job to fill, and that is Haystown, and we'll be working on that. But right now, that's a report. And just to let you know about graduation, tomorrow's all set, and that's it. Unless Kevin or Kim want to add anything to the statements about the principals.
Yeah, I just want to say a quick thank you. I know so many of you have been participating in a lot of different things lately, interviewing for principals, interviewing for superintendents, also negotiations, and those are starting to amp up as well. And I know you all have day jobs and lots of other things going on. So I just want to say a particular thank you because you all have been asked you to be, and it's been really helpful. So thank you for spending your time doing that.
Thank you, Kim.
That's all, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sayre. Before I give my report, are there any committee report or any reports or someone like to bring forth at this time? Yeah. Okay. Well.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
So I'm the Ed Advance liaison for the board. And I was at the opening of the educational workspace that has just been purchased by Ed Advance in collaboration with CES, which is the educational desk for the lower region of Fairfield County. And I just wanted to share that with the board and with the group. This is a space that was located in Bethel, Connecticut, and it was put together originally as sort of a resource for homeschool families who maybe needed some additional tools for their kids and wanted to sort of round out the education. So it has things like a maker space. It has like a sewing area where kids can put together costumes, a theater. It has a garden, a community garden. It's got 3D printers. It's got a bench and workshop. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. It's a 32,000 square foot facility. And it's also available for board retreats and things of that nature. So I just want to share the news of that purchase, which took place at the end of April. They just had their open house. They are going to have some additional open houses in July, which I'd be happy to share information with any board members who might be interested in checking out that facility. But the intent, I think, is to start to create programs in conjunction with CES. And hopefully some of those will be available to our Danbury students.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being a rep for the board and bringing back the information to us. Uh, any other reports or
I have a
comments?
few things.
Yes, Rachel.
Um, Kate, Al, and I sat through three very warm. Oh, and Dr. Sal and Kevin and Kara and Kelly. It was great to see all of you today. But they were very warm, but very great middle school promotion ceremonies. Very nicely done. Exhausted, so I'm like stumbling through my words. um, and also, we are having a policy committee meeting on Tuesday. That was requested, to continue our discussion of POG and the impact on curriculum. Maybe we can, review the equity policy to drive that discussion. Kara Casimiro, I don't know if you're available, but we would love to have you there. Sure. To help us with our discussion. And also, I don't want to, harp on the cabinet's work this year, but on top of everything COVID, we had Portrait of a Graduate, which was no easy feat and was, many years in the works, stemmed from, the beginning of my term here, where we were looking for, to redefine the vision and mission. So I don't want to, miss that, the opportunity to say, that was consistently presented with enthusiasm and passion and on top of everything COVID. So, and also our policy audit, that's just, forever ongoing. So again, thank you. Thank you for all that you do for the district.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm just going to go over briefly the timeline for Ray Associates, and we all have that. It's posted on our website, and board members received information that Ray had emailed me today. And looking at the timeline, there probably will be some type of communication from him for us as a group on the 22nd. But to just be very clear, today was the deadline for all applications, and we can go online and see what's the next step for Ray and Associates to do when they receive those applications, and then he will be meeting with the board. And I I've received quite a few emails and communication concerning people, and I also thank Ray for he put the application deadline in his notification today, and he also noted that please do not contact the board or the district directly. That means individual, as far as telling me that Mary John is the best person, Mary Sue is better than someone else. I've been knowing them. So if you have that type of information, just forward to Ray Associates. If you need the information, you contact our superintendent secretary, and they will give you the information. And I'm quite sure Ray email and all the information, how to contact them is on the website. So that's really all that I have to say about the superintendent search. We're moving along. We're moving along. Okay. Any other comments, questions anyone need to ask me? Seeing none, if there's nothing else to report. Oh, before we move on, I don't know if Olga's going to be with us. I think Olga has done an excellent job in putting the minutes together. And it's no easy job to sit and try to put the minutes and not make any mistakes. And I really appreciate her doing the minutes for us. And I think the last thing I want to say is
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay. On the 23rd, we're having the going away party for Dr. Sam. And my understanding, and Kara's there to correct me if I'm wrong, we will be having it at the Black Box Theater. We will be wearing our masks. We will be keeping our distance. We will be having cake only. And also, Kathy O'Dowd, if she's online too, can sort of help me out with that. And we'll be like, I think Kathy, 2 feet apart when we come to going into the black box.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Yes, so for the seating, it will be 2 seats apart and every other row. Certainly, if someone comes with another member of their household, they can, from the public, they can certainly sit next to each other. But for everyone else, it will be 2 seats apart every other row for safe distancing.
So, Kathy, again, we can't have any open refreshments or anything like that.
So,
What about bottled water? Small bottled water.
well, I consulted with Cara Prunty on this, and you can certainly have water available there if, you know, someone really needs a drink. But we've been asked by the Department of Health to continue all of the practices and mitigation strategies that we've had ongoing through the rest of the school year. And in consultation with Cara, she felt that just the cake would be appropriate, and not a lot of masks off and drinking and things like that.
Okay. Okay. I hope, you know, everybody is listening to what you're saying and saying, well, you know, we want to bring everyone and we can do this and it's open. Yes, it's open to the public, but we still have to follow the guidelines.
Correct.
And be careful.
And Madam Chair, are we going to just have a few people there? I mean, is it by invitation only? Well, how is this? And the black box doesn't hold a lot of people, right?
So we decided that the max capacity for the public would be set at 50 people.
How many?
50.
50.
So 50 is the public capacity. That's the number of members of the public, not including board and staff and cabinet, et cetera.
My understanding is that the board will be on the stage.
Okay.
And the public will be in the auditorium seats.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you again so very much, Kathy. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes,
So,
Amy.
Well, on the calendar, it's booked as a board meeting. Are we having a meeting or are we having a party?
We're having both.
Okay.
We're gonna start with the party, then we're gonna meet, and then we're gonna go back to the party.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds great.
It's always a party. What?
That's not motivation enough for a short meeting. I don't know what is.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for asking that. Okay. Okay. If it's, and I just want to say, you know, if I don't get to say this again, I have enjoyed working with this board this past year, and I really appreciate. And I know all the time that we don't agree, and I don't say agree on everything, but we try to talk it out and be rational and respect one another. And to me, that's what it's all about. Okay. And your commitment to education and to our children here and to our staff. And I just want to say thank you so very much. This board has really shown to me the leadership why you were elected to the board, and I just want to say thank you. If there's no other questions or discussion about anything, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. De Silva.
Second.
Seconded by Al Russo. Good night, all. See all those tomorrow at the graduation. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I